I have officially figured out Trevor Lawrence, Mr. Up and Down himself, that everybody's just acting like is never faulting and is just this great quarterback when, Baker Mayfield has better stats than my man Trevor Lawrence this year. But what I've done is I figured out Trevor Lawrence. I have figured out what Trevor Lawrence is, and I would apologize for the slander that I have given Trevor Lawrence over these years, and it's because I like what he is. I've discovered what he is. It's almost like some Joe Flacco type shit, and what it is, all right, is that there's a version of Trevor Lawrence that never says die. There's a version of Trevor Lawrence that will give you the business. There is a version of Trevor Lawrence that makes every throw, that makes every run, that is not bullshitting with you. I'm going to give a shout out to Paul George when I say this. His name is Playoff Trev. Playoff Trev is a different animal. Playoff Trev had to play a game this week that was a playoff game. It was the biggest game of the season against the Houston Texans in Houston. And this game is for who is the leader of the division. Who is going to solidify their place in this division? You know I love me some CJ Stroud, was calling him the MVP, and CJ Stroud balled his ass off against the Jags this week. But what did Trevor Lawrence do? Trevor Lawrence said, hey guys, if you think this dude is the new hot quarterback of the AFC South, then congratulations, because he finna have to see about me for 10 years. This league, as far as the AFC South goes, it belongs to me now. And I don't get to keep it for 1 year, CJ Stroud, just because you're here. It still belongs to me. And for you to get it from me, you're going to have to take it. I'm not going to give it to you. Trevor Lawrence balled his fucking ass off the other day. He had an interception that was some bullshit because it was a terrible hold, and then he throws it where Ingram is supposed to be. They don't call the hold. What does he do? He don't give a fuck. He walks right back on that field and he starts hitting Calvin Ridley left and right. He starts running that bitch. He starts placing that ball exactly where it needed to be. I want to say his career high for his entire career is like 368. And I feel like he threw for 362 the other day. And it just reminded me of when I saw him play against the Kansas City Chiefs. His whole uniform is dirty. He's running. He's giving you his all. He's never missed a game, so he's not going to be foolish with his haymakers. But Playoff Trev is a different animal, and Playoff Trev can get the job done. With Playoff Trev, he can get you to the playoffs with his mediocrity throughout the year. But when that playoffs comes, the dog that he is comes out. I officially believe in that dog. I officially will hang my hat on that dog, and I will officially sit back and not even worry when he has those 200-yard games, those 240 games with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. If you can keep rolling out these W's, if I can have this defense swarming how this defense has been swarming, if I can have ETN give me a little something when I need ETN to give me a little something, if I can have Christian Kirk being a boss-ass slot receiver, Evan Ingram being a boss-ass tight end, and Calvin Ridley being a number one, I believe in Playoff Trev, and Playoff Trev can hold up a Lombardi. So I would like to apologize to my man. I don't want to apologize to Trevor Lawrence because Trevor Lawrence is everything that I've been saying he is. He's not as great as he was supposed to be. He's not this, he's not that. But Playoff Trev, not Trevor Lawrence, but Playoff Trev is a whole new guy. And I saw Playoff Trev show up in Houston to say, CJ Stroud, please sit the fuck down real quick and let me keep running my division the way I've been running it before you got here. D'Amico, you a hell of a coach and I'm proud of you. But Dougie P done won a Super Bowl, man, I'm finna go get him another one. Please wait, CJ Stroud. I wish you the motherfucking best, son. But right now, this motherfucking AFC South belongs to me. And after I beat you, I'm actually going to be the number 1 seed in the whole AFC for about 2 hours before the Ravens take it back. But Lamar, go and throw some more interceptions in the fourth quarter and give away another game, and I'm on your heels. Playoff Trev.
Damn. All right. So It's hard to follow up on that one, but I ain't gonna lie. I tried to hold it together that entire time. Any given moment, I was about to bust out laughing because this is just such a huge change of heart from what you were saying before about Trevor Lawrence that I kind of had to like understand where you were coming from, and I do. We're talking about playoff Trev versus Trevor Lawrence.
Remember last year at the end of the season when they had to rip off like 7 games in a row to get to the playoffs, where every game was a playoff game? Yeah. Okay. That's the Trev that got you into people saying he a top 5 quarterback. I didn't put it all together until I seen him at Houston. And remember last year they had to run off 7 games straight to make it to the playoffs. So he even said in an interview, he said every game from here on out is a playoff game.
He did say
and
that.
Even though they lost to the Chiefs, he gave you everything and balled. And then his next time having a playoff type of game was just this Sunday. So I'm going to let you speak. But it all came together for me. Playoff Trev is a different guy.
Woo! All right. So playoff Trev threw for 364 yards. And you said as high as 368? All right. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Now, he did only throw for 1 touchdown, and he also threw for an interception. For playoff Trev, I'm expecting more.
Okay.
Now, I'm not mad at his stats. He did a good job. He had a hell of a game. And most importantly, he got a win. That's the most important thing that we can look at here. All the stats are cool, but the win is the most important. Because like you said, that puts them in the top of the AFC South and shit right on the Ravens' heels. My issue is I don't think they're as good as they played this week. And the reason why I say I don't think they're as good as they played this week is because they did play the Texans. And there were many a times where I thought that was the game was over. I thought the game was sold up. I thought, Trev was going to put it away. But Trevor Lawrence never put the game away, in my opinion. He managed the game very well and made sure that his team was in a good position to win. But I don't think he put the game away. The kicker is the one who had all the points for real. But if we just talking about playoff caliber quarterback, are we saying that playoff CJ Stroud is here? Because CJ Stroud outplayed Trev for sure.
CJ Stroud is just a consistently great quarterback to me.
Okay, so he doesn't have any dips. He doesn't have his dips as low as
Exactly.
Gotcha.
It's why I mentioned the name Joe Flacco. It's Eli Manning time. It's Joe Flacco time. It's like y'all go to another level that you don't even have in a regular day. You feel what I'm saying?
Trevor Lawrence went. He
went to a new level. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to throw in, he did have a rushing touchdown. So he did have 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't seeing the rushing touchdown.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm not mad at it. You know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. I probably have more faith in Trevor Lawrence than you do as a regular season quarterback as well as playoff. But I just don't. I'm not ready to say that he's reached playoff level yet because we haven't seen the playoffs yet. I would love to say that these regular season games feel like playoff games for Trevor Lawrence, but that's fine. They can feel that way all they want. They're not playoff games. And until he does what he's doing in the playoff games is when I can dub him playoff Trev. It's just not there yet because it's week 12.
Good with that. I don't have no problem with that. My point is, yes, they're not playoff games, but anytime you have a must-win game, if you can flick that playoff switch for me, I can get down with that. I can believe in that. And I can say, when we get to the playoffs, I know you're going to have to beat us. As too many teams and too many players that when I get you to the playoffs, you're going to get us beat. Josh Allen. He can get – Josh Allen played the most amazing game ever the other day.
He did. Yeah.
But Josh Allen can get you beat in the playoffs. You feel me? Like when Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first playoff game he ever had, that's a quarterback that gets you beat in the playoffs, right? But when you get resilient and you score on every drive for the rest of the game, like even in this game, he when he needed to go get it, he hitting Calvin Ridley in stride. Calvin Ridley's giving you all you got. He scores a touchdown with Calvin Ridley and then turns around and throws it right back to Calvin Ridley to get the 2-point conversion. You're balling right now. And then last week, he had 2 touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns rushing. So if I can say playoff Trev starts to exist when there's about 5 to 7 games left in the season, so he gets hot at the right time every single year, I can say one of these years, you're going to get him. One of these years, you're going to get us to where we're the 1 seed and we don't have to play in the first week. And then the second time, they're going to have to come to Duval to beat you. So if I can get you in playoff mode and then they got to come through Duval to beat you, one of these times you can get me to the bowl. So if you're going to consistently turn it on at the end of the year and start balling like a motherfucker at the end of the year, you might not never win no motherfucking MVP playing like that. If you're going to give me 10 mediocre games and then about 8 to 10 stellar games going into the playoffs every year, I'm going to take it every year. I'm going to take it every year. You
it's
feel
possible.
me?
It's definitely possible to do. Like you said, if you reach that last 5 to 7 games, I just hope he can hold on to it. I hope he holds on to that momentum that's playoff energy, because they're going to need it. They're gonna need it because they narrowly escaped the team that they should have beat. If he's in playoff mode, this is absolutely should have been a win all the way around.
Yes, it should have been a win. I agree with that.
And
but
he got the win. He got the win.
Look at the pressure though. The pressure is you beat me in Jacksonville in week 3. So if you beat me now, I'm probably not going to make the playoffs, or I'm going to be fighting for my life. You feel what I'm saying? I'm going to be fighting for my life if you beat me. But if right now I beat you in your house with playoff implications, I effectively might be ending your season.
High stakes
and you're
game.
Yes. Like everybody was saying the Eagles and who was it? Buffalo was like the game of the year because they went to overtime. And I'm like, I'm sorry. The Texans and the Jags was the game of the week at least. And it's because their game is a rival game, division. Yeah. It has playoff implications, and it came right down to the wire too. This game was a better game than the Buffalo versus the Eagles game. And it's literally because it's a rivalry game and it has playoff implications. Whoever wins that game is at the top of the AFC South.
Yeah.
That is that was the biggest game of CJ Stroud's career. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it was a big game. And to me, the way that he stepped up makes me say, if you're going to do this 2 years in a row at the end of the season, I'm going to give you your credit. I gave you the credit for when I thought you were playing terrible. It's almost how I like to be with LeBron. I'm going to be a fan, but I'm going to give you the credit that you deserve, not the credit that your haters or your fans give you. And to me, that's what I'm doing for Trev, and I believe in playoff Trev right now.
All right, we'll have to see how playoff Trev looks. Just taking a look at the rest of the games that they have this season. They got the Bengals next.
On Monday Night Football, I need him to put on a show on Monday Night Football, and I need them to blow out the Bengals. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I've been saying this about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott blowing out them teams that he's supposed to blow out. Do I believe that they can beat a good team? No. But I need you to blow out these teams.
That
so on Monday Night Football, when the whole world got to watch you and you're playing the Bengals without Joe Burrow, I need you to blow them out as part of playoff Trev. Anyway,
I expect
continue.
that too. I expect that. The Browns, I don't know. Browns offense is something shaky, but
that should be a
they
W.
got that defense. It should be.
Yes.
It should be. But I want to see what Trev can do against this defense in Cleveland.
3 huge games coming up. You got Ravens, Monday Night Football. You got Browns, and then you got the Ravens at home. You got to beat the Ravens. You got to beat the Ravens to show people we beat good teams.
Yeah.
And on top of that, y'all might be playing for the 1 seed.
Yeah, it's a conference thing at this point.
Exactly. No, yeah, literally, they could be playing for who's going to get the 1 seed because the Jags were the 1 seed in the AFC until the Ravens won. And then the Ravens are the 1 seed. The Jags are a number 2 team in the AFC right now. They're ahead of the Chiefs.
And then after those 3 games, you get 3
the Bucks
kind of mid games. These are games that they should win.
Yes, and then the Titans will be eliminated from playoff contention by week 17 or 18 or whatever that week is.
Yeah.
So that should be a pretty easy game as well.
So, yeah.
You really need to win the Monday Night Football, the Browns, and you got to beat the Ravens because it's the end of the year. So you got to show people we're going to beat people. Yeah. So,
they got to run through the AFC North.
They do.
And without that, they are looking good. Like they're looking good for the rest of this season, in my opinion.
If they beat the Ravens, bro, you can have home field throughout. and not have to play in a wild card weekend.
Mm.
So I do need playoff Trev for the rest of the year. It's that time. It's the time to do what you did last year, run off 5, 6, 7 games in a row and get to the playoffs and get to work.
Yep. This is where we really see that. This is where we really see the test of if it's sustainable. If it's sustainable under this team, with this defense, with these weapons, we got to see it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.